What is going on, my fellow nerds? OperatorOtter here. So yeah, this is a thing for the Spiritborn this season, and I'm sure many people are interested in how this is possible. Well, this is using the overpowered Quill Volley build that is currently dominating the meta, and yes, this will be another guide to a build that there are 50 other videos about that, amazingly enough, just keep updating every single day to get better and better, which is frustrating when you have to keep investing materials, tempers, and gear just to keep up with it. So with this video, I want to take a different direction. To understand how this build functions, we need to take a step back to square one and fully grasp the base multiplier mechanics before we start trying to min-max our characters for a build that has very complex interactions and punishing breakpoints. Therefore, this video will focus solely on the base mechanics by which every version of this build has operated under regardless of the daily updates, meaning the information about to be presented will be relevant for every variant the big boys keep updating to. So without further ado, let's get started. There are 4 primary multipliers by which this build functions. Those are the unique item combo, Viscous Shield, Resolve stacking with Redirected Force, and the Jaguar primary haul. Let's get started with the unique item combo. Rod of Kepaleki states that when at full vigor, you will consume all that vigor to make your next core skill guaranteed to crit, be the largest size, and deal huge damage. The damage gain is so massive that we want to be able to accomplish this on every cast of Quill Volley in a fashion I will refer to as the Permaleki effect. The way we accomplish replenishing all our vigor every cast is because of the Ring of Midnight Sun plus resource generation multipliers. These multipliers are Ravager, Sapping, Vigorous, Intelligence, and resource generation modifiers via a temper on the ring or Shroud of False Death. As seen here, if you have a 50% roll on the Ring of Midnight Sun and 300 intelligence, with the lowest temper roll possible with 0 masterworking, we are able to achieve the Permaleki effect. But what if we only had 40% roll on the ring? Could we still accomplish this at 300 intelligence and a max roll temper? The answer, unfortunately, is no. Therefore, we have to play this game between the roll percentage of the intrinsic on the Ring of Midnight Sun, the amount of intelligence we have on the stat sheet, and the temper roll in our other ring slot or armor slot if running Shroud of False Death to accomplish the Permaleki effect. So here I've made it easy for you to know how much resource generation you need on the ring temper for every percent roll on the Ring of Midnight Sun in relation to the amount of intelligence you have. For those raising their eyebrow at the possibility, yes, there is a breakpoint by which you do not need any resource regeneration rolls in your gear to achieve the Permaleki effect. To add to this, there is a version going around where you can utilize Ring of Starless Skies with Lucky Hit Chance to restore resource, which is technically more powerful than what I just talked about, but it is a very min-max play that few players will have access to, so I'm going to digress from this for now and possibly make a video in the future detailing how that functions. The next key to this combo is Banished Lord's Talisman, which states that after consuming 275 of your resource, your next core skill is guaranteed to overpower, and if that overpower crits, then its damage is increased based on the intrinsic roll you have. If Rod of Kepaleki is consuming all our vigor, then the assumption is that we need at least 275 vigor for this effect to work with Banished Lord's Talisman to overpower, and that is not the case. For whatever reason, the effect of Banished Lords is taking the base cost of Quill Volley into account and then adding it to the total vigor consumption. Because Quill Volley costs 35 base vigor, this means we actually need 35 less vigor than 275 to achieve this effect, or 240 vigor. So if you have 240 vigor in your build, then Banished Lord's Talisman will guarantee that skill to overpower, and then Rod of Kepaleki will guarantee that skill to crit as well, so that Banished Lord's Talisman will multiply that damage by its intrinsic roll. To make things even better, with the recent patch update as of October 17th, the second hit from Rod of Kepaleki's chance for core skills to hit twice affix works now and does in fact get modified by Kepaleki's and Banished Lord's Talisman's intrinsics, so this affix is now a flat multiplier to the build's damage. To make things clear, this is not an all or nothing clause, meaning it is not 10 quills or 20 quills per attack. Each quill that comes out is an independent roll for this hitting twice mechanic, meaning you can cast anywhere between 10 to 20 quills, but the higher chance on Kepaleki's affix means more average quills per cast. This in turn creates the base functionality of Ace of Spades Orange Quill Volley build. The second multiplier to this build is the Paragon Glyph Viscous Shield. Viscous Shield states that you gain 1% multiplicative damage for every 3% of your maximum life you have as a barrier. Now intuitively, this means that when you have a barrier that is equal to 100% of your HP, regardless if you have 400 HP or 20,000 HP, you will gain 33% more multiplicative damage. And by how it's worded, that would be a proper assumption, except that's not actually what's happening. The way this is working on live is that Viscous Shield is giving you 33% multiplicative damage for every 100% of your base HP that you have. Therefore, if your base HP is 400, but your maximum HP is 15,787 as seen here, then the actual multiplier is 15,787 divided by 400 and then multiplied by 33% or 1,268% multiplicative damage modifier. Therefore, the best thing we can do is increase our HP as much as possible to increase the maximum barrier potential to give this as massive barrier. And as seen, we can get our HP to about 40,000 in a min-max version of the build, which will give us a gentle and totally acceptable 30,300% multiplier to all of our damage. And this isn't the end of the power of life stacking, because more life also heavily modifies our overpower damage. It would be a shame if we were able to overpower on every single attack. This therefore creates a powerful double dipping multiplier in the concept of life stacking. The next question then becomes, how can we maximize our barrier generation without a gorilla primary haul? For that, stay tuned for a future video to be released very shortly. We're just explaining the nuts and bolts of this build's functionality for now. The third multiplier to the build is resolve stacking in tandem with the Colossal Glyph, aspect of interdiction, and aspect of redirected strikes. The Colossal Glyph gives us a 2% multiplier to all of our damage for every resolve stack we have, so this is the first thing that resolve is dipping into. The next thing is aspect of redirected strikes, which gives a multiplier respective to the roll on the aspect that we have and the percent block chance we have at a given time. By pressing Armored Hide, we gain 100% block chance, and therefore we intuitively feel that we have gained the maximum value of this aspect. Except, though the stat sheet doesn't say it, block chance does not in fact have a cap and can go beyond 100%. Our Rod of Kepaleki gives us 45% block chance by itself, and an Armored Hide gives us another 100% block chance. This therefore means that with Armored Hide active, we have 145% base block chance. We can increase this block chance by using Aspect of Interdiction, which gives us 15% block chance for every resolve stack we have. Let's take an example of 16 resolve stacks. There's some wonky math here involved, but at the end of the day, we get either a 388.4% multiplier or a 744.8% multiplier based on whether or not we have blocked an attack. Well, that's pretty powerful, but what if we just kept cranking on the resolve stacks as temper in our gear and crit them on the masterworking? This means the maximum value we can obtain is 49 resolve stacks, at which if we blocked an attack, we get another soothing 2,537% multiplier to our crit damage, which we crit on every attack because of the permalucky effect illustrated earlier. There is a concept going around about resilience stacking instead of resolve stacking, which gives more HP, and we know how powerful HP stacking is, and it seems to be the new and improved way of optimizing the build. I will say this. At face value, it seems that this would drastically increase our damage, especially understanding how the fourth multiplier we are about to talk about functions, but from my calculations and live setting experience via the top pit clears, the resilience stacking does not in fact net out more damage compared to resolve stacking. But it does with only a single masterwork crit in the gear. So if you do not have the materials to play the masterwork lottery for triple critting resolve stacks, resilience temper is the better option for now. But in the min-max endgame, resolve stacking seems to be the better option from calculations and practical live setting experience. The fourth and final multiplier to our damage is the Jaguar primary haul, which states that after hitting a target 15 times with direct damage, it will echo for 15% of the damage dealt within the last 0.5 seconds. So let's say each of our quills is able to hit for 5 billion damage. We're able to cast 16 of them due to Kepaleki's chance to hit twice half-X. This equates to a total of 80 billion damage. 15% of this 80 billion damage is then echoed by the Jaguar primary haul, and if my math is correct, this means only 12 billion damage will be dealt, so how are people hitting for trillions of damage as seen here? Well, this is a theory I have, and unfortunately no one so far has been able to verify this to me personally, so if anyone knows for sure, drop a comment below. But it seems this 15% damage echo that comes out will then double dip into every applicable damage modifier you have in your build, including the Viscous Shield node. It does not seem, however, to be modified by crit, overpower, non-physical, or specific skill type modifiers. So this is why people are running Fulminate over Talon Glyph, because though Talon does give more damage to the quills, it does not affect the damage of the Jaguar Echo because it modifies Eagle damage, critical strike damage, and lightning damage. Because the Jaguar Echo is a natural damage echo, it is not modified by any of these multipliers. But Fulminate states that it modifies all damage to healthy and injured targets, and that does modify the Jaguar Echo because it is a flat damage multiplier. Long story short, all flat damage multipliers double dip into the build's total DPS output. Now these are completely made up damage modifiers, but they are more or less in the range of what most players have, and as you can see the final damage number now becomes, 8.5 trillion, which is about where most players who have this build on a functional level are dealing. But if you can hit the resolve stacks and other increased values of affixes in this build, then now through the math we can get to 171 trillion damage hits as seen in the photos and videos of the top pit 150 clears. The 400 trillion damage or higher hits that people are seeing are with a cooldown shrine, which is multiplying the damage by about a factor of 5 due to the rescourse cost reduction it gives and how it scales with Rod of Kepaleki. That's all I have for you today. I hope this was an informative video that empowers you as the player to understand how all of this is coming together at a foundational level. But trust me when I say, this gets much more complicated with the concept of breakpoints and the hoops we have to jump through to achieve them, so stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know in the comments below. I do stream daily, so if you'd like to support me or have any questions, feel free to drop in and ask anything you'd like. I do as well have a Discord if you'd like to join and talk with other fellow Spiritborns. Have a wonderful day, ladies and gents. I'll see you in the next one.